work focuses on development economics, migration, and policy research. In this session, Professor Rahman will help us understand the unique challenges faced by migrant women, especially in light of policy gaps, women migration, and policy changes. Sir, please.
This will work. Thank you very much for a very candid and brief introduction. Already I had been introduced yesterday because I spoke to you all about migration and sustainable development tomorrow, I think yesterday. Today I am going to speak about women migration and policy challenges. What kind of things are there? So I am going to talk to you. So just give a minute, then we will proceed further. Dear friends, as you all know that yesterday we have been discussing about the women migration, how women migration is important, and today as a whole, migration is important for everybody, and what kind of policy intervention should be there. I think, are you just connecting? I think if the PPT will be there, it will be so great. So let me discuss with you. Let me tell you about what is the structure of the program to which we all are going to follow. So here I am going to speak to you about an hour, 60 minutes, and 60 minutes will be given for you to interact, to your feedback, your questions, and your observation. And then we will discuss, and if any questions are there, I will try my level best to answer your questions. This is fine, I guess. It is working. No, no, I am talking. So, where is the PPT? Okay, okay. So let us. I think those who are having the coffee or tea are requested to come now. And what I will request you to come over here. I think so. We will come a little bit closer so that we can discuss with you without the taking the aid of the mic. I think come over here. Come, and the first and the second, I think, row. That will be so great. And I am a professor. I am a teacher, so I will be audible enough. Yeah, people. Uh, can that people, this is good. This is great. What happened there? This is not. There must be some technical glitch. Whenever we use this modern technology, sometimes it ditches us. So, is it okay? Okay, I think just. I think it will be. No, no, no. Just I think this cord is. Okay, this is okay. Just yeah. So you all have come. Can we begin now? Okay, let us begin. So this is the topic. This is the issue on which I am going to share my thoughts and experiences today. And yesterday we have discussed about migration and sustainable development. So we have discussed that how migration is relevant as an strategic, economic, and in the context of the IR, how it is relevant. But today we are going to talk about policy, means policy implementation, policy challenges relating to migration as a whole, and more specifically women migration. As we discussed that if you talk of migration, that has become the reality. Means I think 304 million migrants are there today. And we have seen the data uh, since for a long time. So it is in the ascending order. Of course, many countries, we know that they have stopped, they have tried to control the migration, but it is non-stoppable in the sense that it has never been stopped. Whenever you try to control the migration, illegal or undocumented migrants go and they cross the border. So now it has been realized at the global level by the UN agency. You all know that it is the reality. It is inevitable. It is, I think, also that should be taken in the right perspective or in the positive perspective, because migration contributes immensely in the area of development, in the area of social development. So it should be considered as the positive way. So here, if you see the entire, I think for the last 7 or 8 days, migration, more specifically the women migration or diaspora, because there's no any kind of difference as such between the migration, because migration leads to the formation of diaspora, either women or the men. So here it becomes very important that many challenges, many issues are relating to this migration, more specifically the women migration. So let me now go a little bit further about one. So just have a look on. I'm not going to read out the entire issues, but because 35 slides are there, so I will pick up only those slides which would be very relevant, taking the time into the consideration. So I have been asked to speak to you for an hour, so I will stop by 2, and thereafter we will discuss. And you must have many questions. I think yesterday you resolved your question. So today it is the time for your questions, observation relating to migration, sustainable development, women migration, and the policy relating. What kind of policy is there around the world in order to promote, in order to protect the interest or to protect the rights of the migrant workers. So we know pretty well that it was 281 million. Now it has gone up to, according to the latest data, it has gone up to 304 million migrant workers are there. And out of that, we also know that 48%, almost 50%. So 146 million women migrants are there. So, and if you take in terms of percentage, it is around 3.7%, 3 to 4% of the total population are on the move, are living in other parts of the world. Once you leave your own country, your own nation, you become, means those migrants who have left their own home and they are living in other parts of the world, other countries, they are vulnerable in many ways. So we are going to discuss that what kind of policy would be formulated so that these issues could be addressed in the right direction. So you all know that women play a very, since 40, almost 50%, 48 to 49% sometimes, 49%, now it has been reduced to 48%, so almost 50% of the total population. If you see, women are also, so they play a very crucial role in migration, influencing what we call it reasons. What are the reasons for migration? Who migrates? Who stays behind? Migration patterns, networks utilize available opportunities and resources at destination and relations with the country of origin. As we discuss about that, when you discuss either diaspora or migration, you need to take two very important points: the country of destination and the country of origin. So we also call it labor sending countries. On the other side, it is called receiving countries. So how this migration or these migrant workers benefit both at both the places, and how they had been suffering. As I said that they become vulnerable, means migrants are always found to be very vulnerable in the country of destination or the in receipt country. And I think entire, if you see the, I think discussion is has been around. So today, I think many aspects have already been discussed by different scholars. But today I am going to talk about the policy. Policy means, of course, issues are enormous, issues are profound. So how we are going to address, in what way we are going to address. So for that matter, it becomes very important to study deeply, to make research in this area. These are the, what we call it, gap areas or unexplored areas from literary perspective, from economic perspective, from all the discipline perspective. So whatever the subject, whatever the discipline, your expertise is there. I think this is the very important area that has multifaceted, I think, dimensions. So we all are, as it is said that risks, vulnerability, and needs are also shaped in large part by the gender and often very drastically for different social groups. So we already, when you talk of the diaspora or the migrants, they are also very diversified in the sense that they don't belong to the only one category. Either you take it Indian diaspora or for that matter anyone. And this is also very important to discuss the gender identity, uh, expression, and gender characteristics shape all aspects of migration process and can be affected in the countries of migration. So these are the very important that has to be taken into account because we are discussing and we are going to talk about gender. Gender perspective means men and women. We are going to talk about that one. What kind of role is there? Because we are going to discuss about the what what we call it as what kind of role is being played. Means those people who are going to different parts of the world. So if you see, take the example of the Gulf countries, uh, the women who are going over there, they work in the domestic workforce. They become the domestic workforce. So their challenges are very, very important that must be taken into account. So it is written as gender inequalities contribute to the heightened risks. Means when we talk of men and women, I think this is very important to take into account because women face a lot of risk. So addressing gender dynamics, inequalities within policy making, planning and programming that can contribute to social and economic empowerment and promote gender equality. What basically we are going to talk that if you see this situation of that one, of course, problems of vulnerability, risks, all these factors are there. So what basically we are going to, with the help of the planning, with the help of policy intervention, I think how we are going to do so that these migrant workers can become the asset, economic assets or the strategic assets, or either you call it diaspora. So how these diaspora is going to contribute for the development and growth of the society, wherever they are. I mean, I'm talking of the place of destination and the place of origin. At both the place, how we can intervene with the help of the policy so that these social group, which we call it migrant workers or the migrant or the women migrants, they can become the positive assets for that economy and the society. And for that matter, even at this level, means today, in this globalized world, we are talking a lot about that because with the help of the policy intervention, even at the global level, as yesterday I talked to you about UN conventions, migration and migrant workers, UN Convention 1990. Even thereafter, many conventions you must have heard about Global Compact for Migration, and the other one is New York Declaration of for Refugees and Migrants. Call for more migration data could be disaggregated by gender or the age. So here I would like to bring to your notice that many conventions, international conventions have been enacted. And yesterday we also talked about sustainable development. Taking the sustainable development into the mind or into the view, if you talk of global compact for migration and the refugees, these two, I think one came into being just after sustainable development in 2016. I am talking of New York Declaration for Refugees and Migrants. If you see, in the public domain, a lot of literature is available. So what my argument, what I will strongly suggest you to just have a look. So the whole debate and the whole purpose of this program is to generate interest amongst you so that you could pick up some of the areas, the specific areas, and you can do your research in this. And when you make your research, that would become the food for, I think, policy intervention or policy formulation. That is the whole idea. So do you have some idea about the global compact for migration, which came into being, which was enacted in 2080, just after New York Declaration for Refugees and the Migrants? So all these countries, means all the UN states or the UN countries or the states gathered together, and they have decided at the global level that how we are going to protect the interest, how we are going to ensure the rights of these migrant workers, because they are very, very, it is the also demand of the humanity that their rights, they are contribute, even they are the human being, and their rights are violated, are being violated. So there is a consensus, there is an agreement with the help of these two agreements that let us try to protect the interest, let us try to talk about the welfare of these migrant workers, especially to the women, in the sense that they contribute, they constitute almost 50%, and their challenges are, they face a lot of problems, but economically, from the economic perspective, they contribute as the other male counterparts are contributing in the development and growth of the nation, because they also remit money to their home countries, to their origin countries. So this is very important to discuss. I think I will give you some of the picture and some of the statistics so that you could have a look and you can understand the importance and the significance of this one. So here in 2024, that is data. And before going further to discuss with you, let me tell you that if you talk of the data and the statistics, this is very, very important to know that not much data is there. Not much data has been generated, so there is a very serious problem in terms of the data collection or the, so this is the area where the academics or the young scholars like you need to come and study deeply so that we could realize and we could contribute something for the sake of policy formulation. So, so here just have a look. It is written that female migrants comprised, means they constituted somewhat less than half, means 48%. So if you see this in a spirit wise, 48 and 50, not much difference is there. So why? They contribute, so 48 and sometime, and this varies from region to region, in the sense that North America, that constitute United States of America and Canada, and then if you talk of the Europe as a whole, uh, it is the other region, and South Asia or Asia, the other region. So I will just give a glance as a whole. So globally speaking, 146 million women are the migrant workers. And if you see this, and in terms of the percentage, it is 48%. But it varies from region to region. So what is the situation? The share of the female migrants has remained relatively consistent over the past many years, almost if you see from 2020. So it is just hovering around 49 to 48%. But it varies. Just have a look. The lowest share, lowest percentage, if you say, so in case of Asia, to which we all belong, means Asia, or is around 42 to 43%. So lesser than what the situation in case of the Europe. If you talk of the migration or the women migration in the Europe, they are here it is more than 50%. Here it is 52%. In case of the United States of America, especially the North America, it is again 51%. But it varies. Just have a look over here. You will get the picture. And here I would like to bring to your notice that when we talk of the migration, if you go to any university, any academic institution in Europe, even in North America, United States of America and Canada, you will find either department or the center. These centers deal with the migration and the diaspora. But unfortunately, if you see in our own country, India is a leading country in terms of diaspora and the migration. But you will, I think you you will not find any kind of department or the center that deals with this migration and diaspora. It becomes the part of political science, sometimes geography, elsewhere in, so it becomes the part of sociology. So not exclusive center, hardly few. I think Gujarat University is recently having Center for Diaspora Study, and then Central University of Hyderabad, even the premier institutions like Aligarh Muslim University and many, Banaras Hindu University, even Jamia or Delhi University, JNU, completely lacking, completely missing this kind of center. So I think we must be aware, and I am very happy that you all have come to do this kind of program. And you must have got some ideas, at least, and you have been oriented towards these migrant people. So just all these, I think, regions or the, I think, areas have been written. So everywhere, not a single, if you see the, in terms of the male and the female, in every region, just a little bit more or less, they are representing. So here it becomes important to understand this perspective, this dimension, and deal with that one. So yesterday also we have talked about the number, size of the migrants in our own country, diaspora. If you talk of diaspora, it has gone up to 33 or 34 million in case of India. And here I would like to again bring to your notice and that now it is considered. So India is having the diasporic policy today, but not since India's independence. So now we have woken up. If you see the case of China, you must be aware of this fact that China is a leading country in terms of the Chinese diaspora. I think if you see in case of China, I think 45 to 50 million I think Chinese are outside China, and they are contributing hugely for the progress and the development, or especially into the economy of the Chinese economy. Their contribution is profound. So thereafter, we have realized the importance and significance of the Indian diaspora, which is almost more than 126 countries have been identified over there. Significant number of Indian diaspora or the Indian migrants are there. Yesterday I also told you, just I'm reminding you, and I'm just reiterating that 125 billion US dollar. And it's a huge amount. And India has acquired the first position since 2010. So it's very important, even in terms of economy, in terms of strategy, in terms of many ways, these diasporic people, Indian diaspora or for our migrants have become very important. So they need policy intervention. So whatever the policy we are having, even then that is not good enough in the sense that we are not able to address the challenges. Of course, at the global level, all these issues are there, and people have woken up, and we have realized as a conscious citizen of this nation and the global citizen, global, because now we are talking a lot about international community and the global community. So we as a part and parcel of the global community, we need to know what are the challenges. pertaining to, since we are talking of this issue relating to diaspora and migration, so we have to understand what are the challenges, what are the uh, challenges, in the sense that whatever the policy we are having, are they good enough to address the challenges? We will have to see. We will have to examine. So just have a look. I think just 50% in case of Latin America and the Caribbean, 42%, that is the lowest. So if we are saying that lowest, why? I think it is also, I think, important to know that these issues need to be addressed in the right perspective, even in Asia. Why? If you talk of female migration, let us talk about India, South India and North India. If you see, female migration is not taking place, has not taken place from, I'm talking of the international migration. Okay. So if you see the total volume of migration which is taking place, almost in every Indian state, migration is taking place. Diasporic people would be there. But if you go to South India, I think female migration is taking place. So is not the case happened with North India. So what are the reasons? We need to examine, we need to see. So there's a need to study this issue deeply. Why? What are the reasons? So we will discuss. Just I am highlighting some of the important points so that you could come with your own questions and remarks. Women migration and Africa. Of course, we all know that this is very much related with, I think, migration is very much related with poverty, relating to the crunch of the resources. So how we are going to see all this is again very, very important. Just have a look on this. Let us proceed. Many women migration and Asia. Already we have women migration and the Europe. So if you talk of the Europe, every university is having the either center or the department of the university. They deal with directly. So in terms of the policy, they have the policy, and policy also requires some of the changes, taking the time and the issues into the consideration. Of course, if you see that New York Declaration for Migrants and the Refugees, they talk a lot about to how to protect the interest of these migrant workers, and of course compact. GCM means Global Compact for Migration. Migration is again, so many, what I would like to talk to you, that many conventions, international laws are there. Like you all know that way back in 1961, Anti-Dowry Act was passed in our own country. So if you evaluate today, then you will realize its ineffectiveness. Still, dowry system and dowry is going like anything. It is rather, has become rather rampant. So in terms of the theory, in terms of the conventions, many are there. So we need to examine how, why these international conventions, international laws, or even the national laws are not effective. We have to examine as an academic, as a scholar, we have to see what is the need to examine, so that we could understand the pitfalls, shortcomings of these acts and the international convention. So it is very important why these kind of things are being taught or imparted in the class, so that you all are the young generation, young minds. You can come with your own understanding, and your findings could be found more relevant if someone is going to formulate the policy. That is very important to understand, and that taking that uh, points into the mind. Women migration and Latin America. So every region, just I have taken some of the statistics and the facts and the figures and just putting before you, so that you could formulate, you can understand the urgency, importance, significance of the migration. So see over here what is the situation is there. So just go a little bit further. North America. When we talk about North America, we all know that migration from south. South means if you see the entire globe, you can bifurcate between north and the south. So there's always out migration, outflow of people from south to the north because that is found to be rather richer and efficient one in terms of the resources, in terms of the science and technological development. So people go over there. And so is the case of the women. So here I am not talking the as it is happening in North India, North Indian states, was due to on account of the socio-economic impediments. Women are not allowed, women will not be able to go to other countries. So how we can provide the congenial atmosphere, how we can do something so that even women can contribute, women can go over there. So it has nothing to do with the gender. I think in terms of male and the female, both would be allowed to go and contribute immensely, and they could earn. And it has been found that this migration is empowering the women in many ways. I think there's many studies which has been done by many scholars, and they come with their own idea. They come with their own findings that I think empowerment, gender empowerment, women empowerment is taking place on account of the migration. See the situation. I think this. Take the example of Kerala. Take the example of Tamil Nadu. Women migrate as the male counterpart are migrating. But here it's completely a male due to, I think, very rigid patriarchy which is taking place, which is still found in North India. So this kind of situation, on account of that, only male migration is taking place. So let us go a little bit further, women migration in Oceania. So I have taken all the regions. So only Asia, especially the South Asia, if you will see, I think as compared to male, less migration is taking place from South Asia in terms of male and the female. So just have a look. Why I am showing just I think this picture I have taken down. So if you see, it is representing the entire picture. So just 304 million migration. And this is very important that despite all ifs and the buts, migration and the trend of migration is upward. And it is in the ascending order. And now it has been realized and we have agreement that yes, let us talk of migration management or diasporic management. Means as we often say that conflict. Sometimes we say that conflict resolution. So let us try to resolve the conflict. So now there is agreement that even conflict can only be managed. So how we can bring the good governance and better management for that matter, if we are going to do that, I think this migration, either male or the female, are going to contribute for the progress means is going to reduce the inequality, even gender inequality. So we will move towards gender equality on account of that one. And of course, in terms of economy means per capita income because they are going to contribute and they have contributing and they are still contributing. So here that must be taken. On the other side, their rights and their welfare, their working and condition, they are working and condition, how we can ensure so that they would become rather more, I think, productive for the society as a whole. So just have a look on this. Reason why it has been given. It is bifurcated also. So if you see this situation in case of Africa, just numbers have been given, and then in case of Latin America. So if you calculate, if you come with your own workout, I think you will, that number will come. 48% globally, 304. And yesterday I was talking to you and I gave the data up to 181. And in 2018, it was 175 million. So number is increased. And now we have the agreement with this global compact for migration and then New York declaration that to connect this migration with the sustainable development goals. So I think how it could be done, it could be only done with the help of all the academics, all the policy makers, and the governments as a whole, states as a whole. So all these states means those who are the member of the UN. 193, I think, members are there. India is one of the very important members of that. So they all agree, they all have agreed with this. I think if you see this GCM, Global Compact for Migration, then UN conventions for migrants and their families, and then this one. So lot of convention, international standards are playing their role, but it is not so effective as it ought to be. So how it could be a strength to which we need to talk and we need to see to it. Just have a look among the female migrants. Just I am showing the data, then we will let us be a little bit quick. Then distribution of female migrant workers in the labor force varied significantly. We all know that. We have seen in terms of the region how it is the number. Europe and Central Asia hosted the highest concentration of the migrant women in the labor force. So it is around 38.39%, followed by America in case of America 31% roughly, and then 17% in case of Asia and Asia Pacific, and then only 8.3% in case of Africa and the Arab states. I am talking about the women, 5.2% only. So here it is also indicating the status of the women, especially in terms of the region. You will understand. Migrant women working in informal labor, unpaid domestic may also not be represented. So here, again, my hunch is that if you talk, these are the data which is provided by the World Bank and the UN body. I think United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs. So these are the only reliable agencies, and this area needs to have a lot of attention on the part of the scholars, so that data could be generated. So it's a worry and it's a concern that this is a big issue at the that has been realized at the global level, at the national level, at the local level. We all know that. We talk a lot about migration, not only international migration. Even migration is a serious issue within the nation. People are migrating from those, take the all these Indian states. So from northern India, like Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, people are migrating to Maharashtra, Gujarat, and many prosperous states. So issues are there. Even women are migrating. So that has to be taken into account in order to channelize, in order to, so not only they could be used for the productive purposes in the sense that what happens to their working and the living conditions and their rights. So how their rights could be protected is a big issue, is a big challenge, or it's a policy challenge. So whatever the policy we are having, there is a need to rectify, there is a need to bring a lot of change in the policy matters or in the policy. Then we will be able to address this challenge in the right perspective. So just so let us now talk this issue in details about that. Women migration and policy challenges in India. Let us take and then we will see these challenges at the global level. So India is one of the largest countries of origin, transit and destination for international migrants. As already I have talked to you in details that India is a leading country in terms of sending, not only sending, even in terms of the receipt, means a lot of foreign workers, foreigners are also in our own country. And people go through India. So it is written the country of origin, of course, transit, and then destination for international migrants are very much there. So that has to be taken into account. So policy challenges, women migration, the policy challenges are very, very important that must be taken into account. then we will see to it. Over the years, for the last many years, we all know that there has been an increasing trend of feminization. I think we have been talking that feminization of South Asian, feminization of South Asian migrants. So I think the number of women, if they are increasing in terms of as compared to male, so this kind of situation has been happening today, even in case of South Asia. Take the example of Sri Lanka. Take the example of Philippines. This kind of thing will also happen here if you take the Kerala or South India. But this is unique in the sense that from North India this is not happening. So what basically important that what kind of policy we can formulate so that there shouldn't be any kind of discrimination. Even women would be encouraged even in this area, because if you see the poverty, in terms of the poverty and gender inequality, even this is rather more robust in case of these North Indian states if you make the comparison with Kerala and the other southern Indian states. So this is very important, that must be taken into account. And here it is, domestic work is the largest sector driving international female labor migration. You must have heard human trafficking and then domestic workforce, I think, which comes out of the purview of this, whatever the national or the international conventions are there. So these international standards are not dealing with that, but I think domestic workforce is is a acute issue, issue that must be taken into account. So migrant women domestic workers face a host of challenges and a range of human rights violations across the different stages of the migration cycle, at the time of departure, during transit, during service, and upon return. See the situation. I think migration is a process. It is a process. It happens at different stages. Pre-departure orientation, pre-departure issue is there. Then when you approach for passport and all these formalities, so you face a lot of problem. And when you reach at the country or the receipt country or the host country, again you face a lot of problem in terms of language and of course at the social, psychological, at every level. When you return back, when you get when you get back to your own country, again you feel as a stranger sometimes. In some of the cases, it is there. So how to deal with all this? I think this is also very important to understand that those who have gone there is an empirical evidence that those who have gone there, they have worked with a sophisticated kind of technology. So they have become rather more skilled. When they get back to their own origin country, their services, their skills are not being tapped. So many issues are there. So how these challenges could be converted or translated into the opportunity is a big issue, is a big challenge, of course. So challenges, if the challenges are going to be translated into the what we call it opportunity, it will become the boon for any country. So to which basically we are all are talking. The whole crux, or the essence of my discussion and for the entire GYAN program, why government of India is investing a lot of money to organize this GYAN program. There is a logic. There is a very important point, because you all are the young minds. So if this kind of training is being imparted, definitely you will feel encouraged, and you will also understand some of the gap area, unexplored area, and you can take these issues and investigate further and further and come with your own, I think, possible solution. The whole, we are talking a lot, we are highlighting all these pertinent challenges, issues. Why? So that we could provide possible solution with the policy intervention. That is the whole crux of this I think debate and discussion. When we have the debate and discussion on any issue, we try to come at a certain conclusion and certain points. If that points could be taken into account, we will be able to address the pertinent issues which are striking the society, which are plaguing the society. The whole idea is this one. So just have a look on, I am just talking of the issues concerning women. UN Women India uh, works towards strengthening gender responsive migration of women domestic workforce from India to the Gulf GCC countries by raising awareness of the risk of the unsafe and irregular migration and by informing aspiring women migrant workers about their rights and entitlement which ensure safe and the uh, uh, legal migration or the regular migration. So here we are talking of what we call it safe, orderly and regular migration. Nobody is supporting, even you or me, nobody will support that some would go, some people would go and they would cross the border and go without having any kind of documents. So we call it document. Document in the sense that there is a rule, regulation which has been enacted, and with that, if you wish to go, you need passport. First of the thing, you need the passport. If you are going for tourist visa or whether you are going for employment and work visa, so everything has been defined. So if somebody is going, definitely he or she is entitled to get all the facilities. So if you study these UN conventions for migrants and their families, and then Global Compact for Migration, and then New York Declaration for refugees and the migration. So I think here it has been, when we talk of refugees, they are also migrants. So forceful migration. So here it is made rather more comprehensive in order to address the challenges and due to, on account of the conflict. And of course, due to climate problems, climate change, migration is taking place. So it is called push pull. It is also called voluntary migration, involuntary migration. These all things are happening. So how we are going to deal with is a very, very big challenge for everybody. So we as a conscious citizen of this nation, of this global citizen, I think we need to address all these challenges in the right perspective. So here, just I think I have already shown you, just it's a repetition, it's the highlight that Europe is a very prominent and we must learn from those countries where migration is a leading, I think, a glaring example. So they study and they come with their own possible solutions. So this is very important to address all these things in the right perspective. I think here again, you in Europe, lot of literature is available. And of course, so far the case of Asia is concerned, our country is concerned, not much data has been created. So there is a crisis of data, means not much data has been. So how can we come with the data? So when we make a study, empirical study, field work study, so we basically try to generate data in the right perspective. And if we try without, do you think that without data and the statistics, any policy could be formulated? Definitely not. So we need to know much more details about the problems. Then we can on the basis of that we can be able to provide some of the solutions for that matter. And just have a look. Policy global compact for safe, orderly and regular migration, to which I was just talking to you. So this framework emphasizes the importance of gender responsive migration policies that empower women through safe pathways, legal protection and inclusive decision making. So if you study this deeply, but this is only found in paper, means it's only theoretical proposition. So far as the case of its implementation is concerned, again there is a serious. So we as a as a citizen, conscious citizen, we need to highlight all these points so that the day would come. This could be taken into account and this problem would be able to serve to a larger extent. So the European Union policies are regularly shifting towards a more gender sensitive approach to migration with the effort to improve integration and address the specific needs of the migration way. So those who have gone there, so it's a big issue and they think that how they would be integrated. So not assimilated. So they are not talking, nobody is today talking about assimilation, but integration has become the need of the day. And of course, yesterday I also talked about, do you know any pure or impure per se culture exists? So today, it is nothing but the amalgamation of many cultural elements. So those migrants who are going, they go with the cultural baggage. So I think that host culture or the host society is also being enriched in many ways if we take this issue in the positive direction. So that is very important. Various European countries are implementing national strategies and programs to support the integration of migrant women, including language courses, vocational training, and access to health care and the social services. So if you, I think if you go and then you will see, as I said to you, almost in every university and educational institutions are having a big or the very important center of learning that is confined for research, even for training, for even teaching. So they provide masters in international migration, sometimes in diaspora. If you go to any university, in majority of the university, they have realized. So what basically I would like to put it before you that they have realized the imminence or the prominence or the inevitability of this issue. So we need to learn. I think it's very important that this kind of Gyan program has provided this opportunity to all of us to gather together and we are learning. We are being sensitized by this, I think, platform that how this issue is important. And of course, community-based support, all these are informal networks and community organizations play a very important role in providing support and resources for migrant women, particularly in addressing issues relating to employment, housing, and social integration. So many more institutions are required. If we are going to place, I think, take the example of those migrants who are returning, those who return to their home country, to their origin country, their talents are not. So some sort of counseling agencies or this kind of institution must be taken into account for the betterment of the society as a whole and advocacy and activism. Migrant women are increasingly organizing and advocating for their rights, demanding better policy and a greater recognition of their contribution to Europe because we are talking. So is the case of Asian society. So these kind of things must be taken into account so far as the case of policies. What are the policy challenges? What are the future direction? What are the prospects of this issue? So just I have tried to capture with some of the important points the addressing systemic barriers means when we talk of anything, take the example of higher education. So it's a system. Take this as we talk of migration management. So unless until we create the system, I think we will not be able to manage the issue per se. So it will not be on the ad hoc kind of arrangement. Rather, we have to have the system. So if we have the system, we will be able to overcome. So migrant women continue to face systemic barriers, of course, related to gender, ethnicity, and social class, which require multifaceted policy interventions. And when it requires, so today we are talking, and there's a need to talk that how we can our approach can be interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary. If we are going to address any issue, I think not only socialists are good enough. So they need economists, they need other kind of experts. So if we work together, I think we can bring some wonders for the betterment of the society. So it requires, when we talk of migration, migration has a multi-dimensional issues, multi-dimensional problems. So only as an economist will not be able to understand. So he or she is only concerned as how they can become rather more productive. But if from the other perspective, then as an IR expert, as the political scientist, you can analyze uh, this issue in the power dynamics. That is also very important. So as a sociologist, if somebody is interested to see the other aspects, issue of integration is a serious issue. How they are going to be integrated? What kind of problems will arise while integrating the immigrants? I think you have talked a lot about a sense of belonging, alienation, stranger, or many things you must have talked. And many stories have been here narrated that show how pathetic this situation is. So here we are just saying the other positive side of that one. I think I am giving you one example. One a scholar made a study of the labor, I think, domestic workforce in Tamil Nadu. She did her field work. So what basically many questions were I think prepared, and those domestic workforce, those domestic workers who got back from the Gulf countries. So she made the study, and she has had a very comprehensive questionnaire. But the last questionnaire, which is very striking, that yes, do you feel problem? Are you discriminated over? Yes, whatever. Last question was that. So, despite all, if you are given a chance to go again to the Gulf, would you go, or yes or no? So what is striking, that in 100% women say, and they gave the statement, yes, we will go again. Despite all this, so what does it show? Means situation, adverse situation at the place of origin compels anyone to go over there. Despite all hardship, despite all discrimination, exploitation, even women are ready to go. So what basically, so here, what is the possible solution is that how we can stop exploitation, how we can stop discrimination, how we can eradicate all the problems pertaining to women. So if men can go, why not female? If they are interested to go, if they are willing to go, they contribute, and they are contributing. So in this sense, we have to understand this dynamic. And then just see, as I gave the GCC, or the Gulf countries are giving an important role in building the capacity of women empowerment through dependency on the expatriates. So I think they have their own visa, 2030 visa. Saudi Arabia is having, and they are diversifying its own economy. So they require a lot of labor from other parts of the world. And yeah, already we have discussed that in case of UAE, 85% expatriates are there. In case of even Saudi Arabia, 34 to 40% people are from outside. Even constitutes a huge number. So what basically they are utilizing, and they are also trying to protect the interest of that one, is again very important. So there is a nexus, there is a connection of migration and development, even positive. So how we can translate, if any negative kind of connotation, negative kind of things are there, how that could be translated, how that could be converted into that one, is very important, that must be taken into account. What happened? It's not moving. Yes. So let us now wrap up the session. I think I will take only 5 minutes and then we will go for question answer. Migration policy and the migration and the policy challenge. What are the? I am wrapping up. So migration, both internal and international, presents a significant policy challenge relating to social integration, economic impact, and the need for effective governance. These challenges are multifaceted, involving issues of the human rights, we all already resource allocation and potential for social unrest if not managed properly. So we have to be very careful. We have to be very robust kind of policy, and that is based on reality. That is based on the practical kind of things. So what are the key challenges? Just I am integration is a very. If you go to Europe, every year lot of discussion is how to integrate the South Asian migrants or the expatriates into the whole society. Even these kind of things is happening almost everywhere wherever the immigrants are there. Economic, what kind of economic impact? Then governance. We have to see. We have to take all these elements while formulating a policy today. And then forced displacement, we all know that exploitation and trafficking. So these are the negative. These are the fallout of migration that has gone into the negative one. So we have to check, we have to control, we have to manage, and we have to convert into the how it could be policy responses. How we can respond with the help of the policy. Integration policies. We have to be very practical. Governance need to implement policies that promote social inclusion, language acquisition, and access to education and employment for migrants. If you are going to provide the education to their children also, even in case of refugees, and you all know that economic policies should aim to maximize the benefits of migration for both sending and receiving countries, including skills development, diaspora engagement, and the remittances, to which we are doing to a certain extent, to a moderate level, but we have to come with a more robust and more profound way. Cooperations and governance. International cooperation is crucial for managing migration flows, addressing root causes of displacement, and ensuring the protection of the migrants' rights. So many, even at the international level or even at the national level, many acts and the policies are there. But we need to make it rather practicable. We need to take the practical aspect. Feasibility and pragmatism is very, very important. And what are the root causes? What are the primary causes? We have to understand. If we are going to understand the primary causes, main causes of migration, I hope or we are sure that we will be able to provide the apt kind of solution that would be benefiting. Human rights protection. uh, states means in so far all these 193 states or more than that we are talking states must ensure the protection of migrants human rights including access to justice health and the legal representation. So if you are going to take all these issues into the account, I think we can come with a very policy and we will be able to make a society because they are the migrants are the part and the parcel of the society. See the case of any society for that matter. You cannot keep them aloof. I think unless until you are going to uh, provide the integrative policy which would be very effective, very positive, then we can think of. Otherwise, if your policy, if our policy, if someone policy, some country's policy would be restrictive, that is not going to be acceptable by the people. That is not going to be create a healthy kind of society. It is not going to create a sustainable society to which we are talking today. So we talk a lot about sustainable societies. So everything should be sustainable. So unless until today in this world, as it is said that it's a man's world, unless and until we make this world a human world, I think things will not move, things will not rest in the right direction. So that it is the demand of the time to address all these challenges. And the greatest challenge, to my mind, is the issue of the gender, issue of the male and the female, in the sense that they constitute 50%, 40% in case of these. So it's a number. And if you talk of labor participation, if you talk of representation, political, I think representation in politics, power, everywhere. So they are relegated into the background. So unless until we come with a very progressive policy, which would be all inclusive, of course, not only gender, but many more issues, like those who have, in case of India, in case of other country. So in case of India, India is a country of villages. Majority of the people live in the rural areas. So what is happening to the women over there? You are extremely privileged, let me, as we are. But unless until, since we are the privileged ones, so we use this privilege for making the society all inclusive, better society that would be based on equal justice and all that. So, in case of India, situation I think just I very in India faces a significant challenge related to international migration, particularly in terms of the rural population. Means, just I thought that yes, I think international migration. If you talk of India, I think there's a hue and cry sometimes. The people are going from one Indian state to another Indian state. It becomes a problem. It becomes, India is a unitary state. Even Constitution guarantees the India, Constitution allows. Even then, problem. So we have to see that this kind of situation should not emerge. So international migration is good enough, even internal migration, and see the situation, what is happening. Why I am saying that policy is very much required. If we provide the employment facilities even at the rural areas, wherever it is, nobody would come to Delhi, nobody would come to Mumbai, nobody would, I think, if rampant kind of exodus or migration takes place, so it will create the slum, or it will be not be able to cope up with the resources, available resources. So policy intervention and the apt kind of policy has become the need of the day, not only relating to women migration, not related to only migration, but all these issues. So these are one of the pertinent issues according to our understanding, because it is the demand of this topic. Of this topic, in the sense that the Gyan course is basically centered around Indian women diaspora or migration related to, I think, linguistic and language. So that's why we have talked. Otherwise, there is no dearth of the problem. But if we are going, we have our own, I think, limitation, that we can pick up only one or two issues if we work. And if, as an activist, if you work for that, I think this is good enough. So it is the responsibility of the entire humanity. It is the responsibility of the international community and the global community to come with a possible solution. And we work together for making the society, for making this world a better world, sustainable world. So this is what I wanted to share with you. So once again, I am very, very thankful to the coordinator and to this institution authorities for having provided this great opportunity to all of us to interact. So whatever I wanted to share with you, I have already shared. I think 1 hour is there. So let us come with your questions. I will be extremely happy to take up your questions, observations in the forms of the comments. So I am sure that you will ask questions. So the question is relating to any, not only per se to this topic or to this issue, anything relating to diaspora, migration. So how, because we are going to wrap up the session in the, I think this is the last session, technical session, I guess. Thereafter, we are going to have the ceremonial kind of program, means inaugural, on the very first day, first session. Now we are going to conclude with again the another ceremony. So in between, I think you got delayed. Otherwise, I had the session from 12 to 2. So it's a technique. It happens. So now I'm looking forward to having your question, and I will definitely try to answer your questions, and I will give my own response. But your responses are very important for my encouragement also. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Iman, for an informative and data-rich lecture. Your clarity in addressing the invisible struggle of migrant women was truly impactful. You have helped us not only understand the issue better, but also reflect on the need for more gender-inclusive policy frameworks. We now conclude today's academic engagement with a problem-solving session led by Professor Nisur Rahman. This session is intended to be interactive and practical. Participants are encouraged to raise questions, present real-world challenges, and engage in meaningful discussion related to women migration and policy issues. Thank you.
Hello. Sir, I have a question that how women migration it differ from man migration in terms of causes, experience and outcomes.
I will take up one by one.
My question is that since Trump's bill, the remittance taxes and other tax bill, the big beautiful bill that he calls, is in the news. So, what do you think will be the impact on the diaspora that is residing there, and those Indians and Chinese who are planning to migrate to the U.S.? What will be the impact on them as a part of this new system of taxes that Trump is imposing on different countries?
Okay, very good question. I think I should answer and then I will take up the other questions. Can I reply from here? Thank you very much for your question. I think I hope I have energized you and you have come with a very relevant question. So relating to, I think how women migration is different from the male migration. If you take in terms of the challenges, challenges are also different. And of course, the impact is also different in the sense that as I discussed with you that there is a study that if a female is migrating, so it has a double impact because they are being empowered, their children are also being educated to a larger extent. What is one study I'm just narrating to you that those male who have migrated, especially from the Uttar Pradesh, leaving their families behind. So what happens actually? In that case, I think we all know that wherever the migration takes place, basically, especially in this case, uh, push factor works in the sense the situation has compelled the persons to migrate, especially that is called economic migration. Of course, brain drain is entirely different because that happens only with the highly skilled persons. But the great majority, and generally speaking, in the sense that the migration which is taking place from India to the Gulf, which is our extended neighborhood. In that case, we have seen that they have left their family behind. The reason is that they are not able, because there is a benchmark, in the sense that those who will get the salary of a particular amount, they would take their families. So they are basically the semi-skilled people. So they have left their family. So in that case, when they earn money, before that they were not so prosperous, they are not so rich, but by virtue of their hard work, by virtue of their earning, because there's a difference in terms of the money also. I think 20 rupees or sometimes 25 rupees if you convert their money, dinar or the dinar, of course, that is there. So they have the money. So what basically their families have done, that they have migrated, taking their children to a nearby cities. Take the example of, in case of Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow, and some other district town level, and they have started giving the education to their children. And before that, they were not allowed to go outside the house. But when they have gone to the Lucknow or some of the other district town, so what happened actually? They have been empowered in the sense they started taking all decisions. So on account of that, there's a nuclear family has been also formed, and they take all the decisions, because their husband, wife, are not here. Whatever the money is coming, they are also spending very wisely. So this kind of study, I am talking on the basis of the study. So impact is also there, visible in the sense that they have been empowered. So there is empowerment. On the other hand, their children have been educated. They have become the doctors, engineers, and something IT professionals like that. Because this kind of situation is a long one. For the last 40 years, 50 years, this phenomena is happening. So there is the impact. And so far as the case of challenges are concerned, you are also right that psychological stress, and of course, what we, many, I think, fall out of that, even marriage has also been broken. This kind of situation is there. But what basically is important to the, how you are going to evaluate in terms of quantification, in terms of that thing, and how we can protect. Now, due to this digital era, I think this has become very important. I think I'm talking of the 80s. This kind of facility was not there. So wives are ready today, and they are talking on the WhatsApp, video call. So things have become a little bit easier. But so was not the case yesterday. Even then, challenges are there, because they have been left here, education has been given, but at the same time, at the individual level, they have suffered, and they have been suffering, but at what cost? Again, it's a matter of debate, discussion, and has to be talked. And of course, policy matters a lot. What kind of benefit is being provided by the government or the state is also very important. If you go to see these villages, migrating villages, uh, before migration, and you can make the distinction and difference between the non-migrants families and the migrants families, those who have migrated and those who have not migrated. So see, and a visible change is very much there. So here it is the plus and the minus, means positive and negative. So where do you place? At the individual level, at the micro level, at the macro level, the issues could be, I think, theorized and can be understood and can be comprehended at the macro level also. So if you ask me, what is my position, that migration has led to a good life, and it has also had a good positive impact on the health, and of course on education. So social sectors have been benefited, it has had a positive impact. So challenges are, of course, individual female, and those basically take the example of their other members from that. So the challenges are being faced by female is definitely other different as compared to the other one. Your question is relating to what kind of scenario would be there due to the tax regime which is happening. I think time will tell. But so far the case of, again, India and the Chinese are there. They are outshining, and things will get settled in the right direction. To my understanding that yes, this migration is going to benefit to a larger extent despite all these hardship, despite all these nitty-gritty kind of things. So as a whole, why I am saying that we all should be optimistic enough in the sense that many internet at the international many conventions are there. You must be wondering, sometimes we also say that all these UN bodies have become dysfunctional, or they have become defunct. But there's a rays of hope. Let us pinpoint, let us I think have the hope that these all, how we all are going to strengthen at the individual level, even at the national level, that if these all international UN organizations are going to be strengthened, definitely it will be it is going to provide the better kind of atmosphere, better kind of things for making this society, for making this world a better world, or I think sustainable world. This is the only thing. I think these are the trends. Sometimes we become very optimistic about all these things. See, in 21st century, wars are going on. Wars, but we as an academic, we as a intellectual, we as a researcher, our job is to understand. So peace is the only solution. Peace, stability, these are the two very important ideas that must be cherished by all of us. And the time will come and we all should work in order to achieve that one, in order towards that one. So these all are the, what we call it, something unwarranted which is happening in the society. So that cannot become the ideals. That must be detested. That must be, I think, taken into the transitory kind of things. But I think this is what is happening today is definitely not acceptable to us, to India, or any for that matter. Let us hope that something would happen positive and better in the long term. Yes, please. Yes, yes, yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good
Uh,
afternoon.
so my question is that what kind of migration is to be combated more, is we needed to combat it more effectively, internal migration or external migration, which needs to be like needed more attention, like since internal also it leads to women suppression and all, like women are deprived of their rights. So
Yeah,
what could be
yes, very
regarding that?
good question. Let me try to answer your question. I think both the migration, both kinds, international or internal migration, both must be appreciated, must be encouraged, must be promoted. But uh, equally important thing is to ensure they are working and the living conditions and the welfare, and as migration is important, same is the case with the protection of the migrants. Protection of the rights of the migrants is equally important. So migrants should not be considered as the commodity. They are not sold for the goods. I think their rights, their welfare must be taken into account. And let me try to talk to you about internal migration. India is a unitary, but there is a huge, and Bihari are coming to Maharashtra, Bhaiya is coming to Delhi, like this sometimes. So this is very disgusting in the sense that what basically as an academic we should talk, I think it is based on the demand and supply. Whatever the resources are available, that must be channelized in the proper way. I think where there is a shortage, what happened in Kerala? Take the example. Kerala is the most migrating state since early times. It means 70s. So there was a shortage of human, there's shortage of manpower even in that area, labor, there was a shortage. So what happened? Bihari and North Indian, from North Indian states, they started going to fill up that gap. So if there's a shortage, and I think if it is going to be supplemented by any Indian state, that must be welcome. At the same time, I think how we are going to make India as a unitary state is also very. Take the example, language becomes very problematic sometimes. So how we are going to cope all these things without I think hurting the sensitivity of the any community. So if you see the national education policy, I think this kind of provision, how we are going to cherish our own local language, at the same time, how English is going to have the linked language and national language, you all know that. Taking all the, and this is very much possible, and this is the responsibility of the scholars or the young scholars like all of you to make that one. So how migration is going to become the tools not in the technical sense, but as a catalyst, let me tell you, not tools, but as a catalyst for the progress, for the development, for the sustainability of all these things. I think we need to channelize, we need to come with a very apt kind of policy recommendation or policy intervention. So it is the need of policy intervention to do this thing. But whenever we talk of migration, sometimes that must be stopped wherever they are. So if possible, I think this is not possible. This is not possible that you can stop anywhere, either within the country or at the beyond the border. So now there is an agreement. Now how we are going to manage, how to give the good governance for that matter. If that is whatever the resources, again I am telling you theoretically possibility is that whatever the resources are we are having, if we are going to use these resources, so whatever the population we are having are not beyond that. As yesterday I talked to you, again I am repeating that we are talking today only about demographic dividend. So how this is going to become the demographic dividend? Not only by we have to invest, we have to take care of, we have to have the policy intervention, and then we will be able to convert this population, whether from any Indian state. So if we are going to convert, as an economist, we all know that human capital or human resource is one of the very important factors for the production. Land, labor, capital, you all know that. These are the very theoretical proposition. So if we are going, entrepreneurship and the labor come from that, I think, stock. So how we are going to use these stock? So for the development, for achieving the vision of the Viksit Bharat or the developed nation, I think this human capital, to which I call it potential human capital, because they are the young, but they need to have the training, they need to have the health care, they need to have the education, rightful kind of education, they need to have skills. Everything, if they are going to have, then they will be converted into the human capital. So here again, I think this our constitution, Indian constitution guarantees, I am telling you, that you can go anywhere and settle down. Any, either you can go to north east India or west India, or central India. So your constitution guarantees, constitution allowed. But how we are going to create the environment, means culture of acceptability, is very important. I think here again politics steps in here, but you all know that to create the congenial atmosphere, we as an academy can play a very significant role. So according to my understanding, migration must be promoted, must be encouraged, provided you need to have the regular, orderly, and free with the human rights, with the condition of providing the welfare. So ours is a country which is a welfare country, our welfare state. So to what extent we are giving is again very important. As I said to you, Anti-Dowry Act passed way back in 1961. Still, it is only found in the paper. What is rampant is over here. We all are witness to that one. So how we are going to, unless until we create the atmosphere, culture or environment, nothing is going to move in the right direction. Way back in, I think you must be aware of this UN convention, ILO has created lot of convention, 1999, 49 again, then 75 and then 90 and 2016 and then 2018. Many conventions have already been enacted, but again, it is only found on the paper, theoretical propositions are there, so we have to see. So here, internal migration, or international migration, both must be taken into account. So we don't, who are we to just stop it? I think we see its viability, we see its inevitability of this kind of thing. So how we are going to think, how we are going to put all these things in the right direction is very, very important. For that matter, we have, whenever we talk of migration, whether internal or international, what are the sources? Can you tell me some of the sources? What are the major sources through we get the data? For internal migration, where can we get the source? What are the sources through which we will be able to get the data? Without data, we cannot move. We need data. On the basis of data, statistics, we can formulate policy, we can have some sort of ideas, or we can analyze the issues in the right direction. Decennial session, decennial census, then NSSO, these are the major sources. And after 2011, no any decennial census. So how can we get the data is very important. And of course, for international, World Bank and UN, many UN organizations are there. They provide the data. You can get the data. To what extent it is relevant is again we have to see, we have to check, we have to analyze. Yes, please. So you're just, I think what basically is, already I have taken my position that here, because we are going to develop our own country. So whether, no matter who is going where, but their contribution matters a lot. Yes, please.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is rather based on an observation. So my question is, most of the Indian elites residing abroad, they often boast about they often paste a picture of India which existed years back, because now the picture has changed a lot, and they often talk about the culture. They often only paint a culture tapestry, while often ignoring the discrimination differences and the economic disparities in India, the massive cultural gap that exists. So what do you have to say on such scenarios? And another question is those same elites, when they move to India, they often they often utter statements like India is extremely cheap, in India is very frugal, it's easier to live in India compared to abroad. But while they often forgetting they are exploiting the daily wage workers. So what would you say in such situations?
In question, if I understand correctly, that who said that India is very cheap in terms of the labor?
So it's basically the mostly what I've noticed online, the elites, the mostly who are earning, people who are mostly considered middle class in US, but they are rich in India. So they often say that India has facilities like Blinkit, Instamart, that it's extremely economical to live in India. You can, the country is extremely, the housing is affordable here, while they often forgetting that they're exploiting the workers here, as they are underpaid and not getting enough to make their ends meet.
Uh, let me try. Let me first of all tell you that if you see the system to which we all are undergoing is purely capitalist system, and the very nature of capitalism, you understand that exploit. It is majorly based on exploitation, and they understand that of course India is cheap in terms of the labor. So see the situation. So if you go to any European cities or anywhere, very, very expensive, at least 10 or 20 times more than what we get it here. So one cup of tea, you can imagine, I think at least 10 times more than. See the case of dollar, see the case of what pound. Pound 118. 1 pound means 118 rupees, 116, 17 rupees. So they, I think this is very much that it is the intention, it is the objective of any, if you have the entrepreneurship, you have the business, then definitely you will try for the market, you will try for the labor which would be cheaper. And we cannot say that it is exploitation in the sense that those who are working, sitting here for the American companies, for the MNC's company anywhere. So it's very difficult to say that it is, I think they are getting a lot of money in the sense that if they work, if they are free hand, if they are unemployed, so in that situation, what would happen? Anyway, they are getting their money, and already I have told you that system to which we all are having is exploitative. It's not ideal. So I think we have to see the reality also that yes, due to the see the situation, globalization, we are talking a lot today, and for the last many years we have been talking of globalization. Globalization, some people say that globalization has created havoc, ha- has created inequality, has created a lot of cultural issues. Hmm? So these are the negative fallout. These are the shortfalls of the. But it has, globalization has been used as an opportunity also. See, I think not we are sitting one to one in the same in person, but now online has become very, I think, often. It has become the reality. So we, wherever you go, sometimes we sit in our own room and just get connected anywhere in the world. So what happens actually due to how this technological revolution has taken place. So this is nothing but the gift of this globalization. When globalization was to begin, I am talking of the early 90s. So in the 80s, mid 80s, lot of hue and cry was going on that this globalization, LPG, liberalization, privatization, and globalization is going to create a lot of havoc in terms of creating unemployment. But if you see today, I think many fold employment has risen, and many people are, crores and crores people are employed. But again, you will say that yes, all are not employed. All are not employed. So it could be seen in the what we call it in absolute sense. So what is the requirement of the society? What is the requirement of the economy? Has to see to it. Even people are in the same way, same number are unemployed also. So we cannot blame per se the globalization as a process, globalization as an event. But I think things will move. Things will move, and change is only thing which is permanent, as we call it. So we have to prepare ourselves. What happened during the pandemic period? It has struck the entire world. It has devastated the entire world. Lot of problems were created on account of pandemic. I think COVID-19 created a lot of havoc. But I was thinking, personally, yes, I was thinking that the world would not be as it is today, even in majority of the cases. But now the world has returned to normalcy, and then and many things, even in terms of employment, in terms of many things, change has taken place. So how we are going to create, how we are going to understand what kind of situation will be there during the post-pandemic. Now post-pandemic situation has arisen. What would be the labor condition? What would be the requirement of the labor? What would be the things would be the things are changing very rapid. So we need to, whatever relevant it was yesterday is not today, definitely tomorrow it is going to be something else. So we have to update, we have to prepare ourselves according to time, place, condition, situation. So these are the very important things that must be taken. So as a teacher, we see that we need teachers need to be adaptable. So we need to, whatever I am teaching today, I should prepare myself. Tomorrow I need to prepare something else. Seeing the situation. Tomorrow means when the time comes. So future I am talking about. But for that matter, if one is ready, prepared, himself or herself, he or she can be successful. Let me tell you, let me put it in this way. So that is very important that this could be taken into the considerations that, of course, we cannot say what would be the scenario in future, what kind of labor requirement would be there. But seeing this situation, if you see, I think everything is extremely cheap, and this is that must be celebrated also, and that must be taken in the positive way. And we can use our, this is our strength. If anything is cheap here, that must be taken in the positive way. If you go and just buy $2, $2, 1.9 a pound, just 3 4 days before I bought one like yeah, like this, a little bit bigger one, 1.9 pound. Just convert in the here how much it would be, 10 rupees, 20 rupees, not more than 20 rupees. So see the situation how it is. So we should take this affordability as an opportunity to utilize or to make our economy a robust economy. And that is entire, that is altogether different. It is said that Indian economy is dead economy. So this is all politics, that is going on. So yes, please. The other question? Yes. Next one. Feel free to ask the question. Any question? Yes, yes, please.
Sir, so if we look into forced migration, which is usually the refugees, so do you think that international refugee policy truly consider the voice and experience of women, especially women from marginalized communities like the Rohingya refugees?
Very good question. I think here, this is my take, that we belong to the international community. We as a scholar, we as an academy belong to the international community. We are the part of international, global community, international community. Why I am saying that these all are the national issues, whatever it is there. I think the issues are there, but unless until we look and we deal this issue at the global level, I think things will not move in the right direction. See, all these conventions are not binding. What is it? These all agreements, these all international covenant conventions are not binding. What does it mean? If I wish as a nation, if I as a state wish, I can accept, I should ratify. If I am not, if it is going my interest as a nation, I will not follow. So this is happening with all these international, I think, conventions. So it is the greatest handicap. If you ask me personally speaking, it is the greatest handicap. So at one place we understand that when we talk of the welfare of the migration, we come forward and we say that this is good. And that must be taken into account. Though India or all these important countries, means like United States of America, even Pakistan, or no, not a single country have accepted these UN conventions or all these international conventions. Many are not been, have been ratified. So we as a academic, we as a scholar try to make this atmosphere, make this environment so that it would be acceptable to all states. At least 193 states, all these refugees laws, international I'm talking of, all these migrants, and UDHR, Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It was passed way back in 1945, I guess, 45 or 46 or 48 like that. I think 45. It was passed, and if all any country is going to ratify or going to implement, let me going to implement, I think problems will be resolved. Universal Declaration of Human Rights are good enough. Only one. No need to go for any. I think everything has been written. So the protection of the refugees, protection of the migrants, the protection of women, especially, I think in 1951, one see what is this? I think relating to the women completely. If that is going to be, I think, implemented in true sense of the term by all these states, the problem of women would be resolved to a larger extent. Refugees and Rohingyas, I think they of course, only leave services are given by many people. But what basically, so this kind, take the example Syrian women, how they have been suffering, and like that many. So it is the demand of the humanity. It is the demand of the humanity to protect their interests. And of course, they deserve. Take the case of Palestinians. Take many issues are there. So somewhere we have to strike the balance between all these things, and we have to see very impartially, very objectively, very I think what we call it objectively to analyze the things and try to make this world a better world. Try to make this society a better society, and society will only be sustainable or reliable where equality in terms of gender, equality in many ways is going to exist. So how we are going to be gender sensitive even in the class? So as we say, the charity begins at home. So is the case, I think this kind of atmosphere must be cultivated from the academia or from the academic institutions. So that is the temple. Over there, we can talk of equality, we talk of gender sensitivity, we talk of caste deprivation, we talk of all these, I think, ideals that must be brought into the domain, that must be dealt with. So I think we are having a policy in our own country, we are having a policy that is good enough to deal all these issues, but there is a need to take many more issues into the account in order to achieve the vision of the great nation or Vikshit Bharat or to developed nation. India has the vision to take this great nation into the category of the developed nations. I think we cannot leave the gender issue at bay and we will go forward. Definitely not. So we have to take gender issue, we have to take social category issues into very deeply. Then we can think of equality or justice, and everything is very much possible.
So we have a question from our online participant named Binish Zubia. And her question is, what strategies do Indian women in the diaspora employ to preserve their linguistic and cultural identities? And how do these efforts impact their sense of belonging and community in their adopted countries?
Can you repeat it then?
What strategies do Indian women in the diaspora employ to preserve their linguistic and cultural identities? And how do these efforts impact their sense of belonging and community in the adopted countries?
Okay, okay. I think this kind of provision is very much there. I think wherever you go, wherever I have visited, I have seen the Indians or the Indian community Not only in terms of the language, not only in the terms of food, almost in every way. Very recently, I visited London. Before that, I went to Paris. So what I have seen, that I have gone to the Indian community, and they are preserving their culture. They are preserving their language. Go to any diasporic community, Indian diasporic community, either in Mauritius, Fiji, Trinidad and Tobago, or all these European countries for that matter. I have seen. And only, I think, sometimes rhetoric is being there. Otherwise, I think they are maintaining and they are very conscious of this fact that they are they are maintaining and not much challenges are there, but how, if any challenges are there, so that could be seen, and of course they are conscious of this fact that they have to maintain, they have to preserve. As if you go to Mauritius, see the situation they speak, I think they are from Azamgarh and then eastern part of Uttar Pradesh, and I think those who are here in Banaras or Jaunpur, I mean, they can interact and they speak very good Bhojpuri, and they are preserving there. So that is great that they are preserving. Not much challenges is there, but since they are very strong also, so this kind of situation is there. But sometimes some sort of problem crop up, but that could be overcome. So my final I think response to this question is that, of course, they should be conscious, to which they are. So nobody, at least at the public place, saying that you need to be and of course their generation, because they have been living for many generations. So those who are the new one, they are children. This is a serious problem. But they have their own, I think, identity. So not much challenges for their identity, for their culture, for their language, for their linguistic. So here, my point is that if you are strong enough anywhere, and of course, if again we are going to strengthen all these international conventions, all these rules and the regulations, definitely it is going to reinforce, it is going to support. So if we are getting this kind of support, today nobody will say, nobody is saying that you are going to be assimilated. I think no. I think your preservation of culture, your heritage are as important as anyone. So this kind of situation is very much there. So once again, I'm very, very thankful to the participant, online participant, or online friend. So this is my take about the question that has been raised by the online, I think, scholar or the participant.
Thank you so much, Professor Rahman, for guiding us through this hands-on session. With this, we conclude day 5 of our academic program. My heartfelt thanks to all our speakers, including Professor Anisur Rahman, sir, for his valuable contributions. I also thank all the participants for the thoughtful presence, engagement, and questions. Let's carry forward today's insight as tool for reflection, further reading, and perhaps one day policy reform or community action. Thank you.
Any question if it is left? If it is late, so formally the class or the session is over. Even if you feel some questions, some observations, would be, I hope you all are hungry. If we stop you any further, you all will become angry. And your angry will be reflected at the time of valedictory, to which we don't like. So we want to see your face and you all very happy, because today is the concluding session to which we are going to look forward at 4, I guess. So thank you once again for your brilliant questions and so much patient hearing indeed. I have thoroughly enjoyed your, I think, participation, active participation in your questions, brilliant questions. And thank you to you also for your uh, ending the session. So thank you once again. Thank you so much.
you then at 4 at your valedictory session.